when I read the book, it is more than that. You have a narrative. You are telling founders that this is the way you can kind of pursue entrepreneurship.
Knowing your customer is actually the most important thing in any startup journey if you look at. People think that कि startup में बना रहा हूँ तो मैं अपने लिए बना रहा हूँ, investors के लिए बना रहा हूँ, है ना, या अपनी families के लिए बना रहा हूँ, उनको कुछ prove करने के लिए बना रहा हूँ. But actually you are solving the problem of the customer. An entrepreneur called Anubhav Dubey, right?
Yep.
Who is the founder of Chai Sutta Bar. Again, a very inspirational story. He does not sell sutta also, right? Thing is, he does not drink chai either.
Oh, that I didn't know. Another one which I wanted to delve into is that of Vedant Lamba.
Yeah.
A crazy story.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, he has had his share of ups and downs also.
Indeed.
In beach mein matlab हुए हैं. But the origin story is so amazing. I mean, this sneaker culture thing that's taking over everything right now.
Everything. Vedant, of course, is based in Bombay, but I had like a virtual meeting with him.
Okay.
Where we discussed at length about how does this entire thing work, right? How does sneaker distribution works, right? Because a thing which is coming as a drop, right, sells in as low as 10-20 seconds,
yes.
And people are paying 2x, 3x the price of it, yet no stock is available here, right? So I think that is where the distribution chapter was very important. Very refreshing for me to write this book. At one point of time while writing this book, I thought, yaar, nahi ho raha hai, bahut thakawat ho gayi.
Right.
Because I loved, like, every time.
It's your passion, na?
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I didn't mention the Faad Guy thing. Abhi tak.
We kept the name as Faad because we want to do something awesome, right? And I think वो Faad नाम इसलिए रख लिया कि something awesome ही होना चाहिए.
Cool name.
पंजाबी थे.
Yes.
Youth culture. So I think
fit in होता है. North India में थोड़ा fit in भी
fit in होता है. Faad कि Faad काम करना. जो भी करना है उस Faad में.
Hello, Booknerds. Welcome to the Booknerds Podcast. Just shot an episode with Aditya Arora, who is the author of Startups of Bharat. A very interesting book and an interesting name, of course. These are stories of India's million-dollar founders under 30, and quite a revolutionary book because it guides budding entrepreneurs how to pursue this entrepreneurship journey. Or the best thing is that it has been broken down so in a very simple way. You can easily go to any chapter and understand what this journey entails. If you want to learn about ESOPs, you want to learn about how to understand your customer, everything in the startup world has been broken down in a very easy language. I would highly recommend this book for anyone who's starting out. And even if you have already been on this journey for a bit, you can read this book and get better. I would also recommend this book highly for tier 2 and tier 3 entrepreneurs who can really sort of, gain perspective and learn from the journeys of some wonderful founders, some very popular founders like Alakh Pandey from PhysicsWallah, the Chai Sutta Bar journey. There is Growth School. All of these stories are in there, but it also has a narrative in the book, which makes this book very wholesome. We had an amazing conversation, and I'm so excited to let you in on this episode. So go watch it, and of course, leave your comments how you liked it, and perhaps all those comments make us better. So yeah, go watch the episode with Aditya Arora, who is an investor and an author. He has invested in more than 20 startups. So you'll be very happy, I'm sure, to watch this podcast and at the same time learn from it. Hi Aditya, welcome to the Booknerds Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
Great. So this book in my hand, Startups of Bharat, it's doing very well. Congratulations on that. Or the title itself, and stories of India's million-dollar founders under 30. Although I am over 40, so I have missed the bus. But maybe some edition where you feature the oldies of the startup world.
Absolutely. When I first published this book, a lot of people reached out, Aditya, why under 30? What have our 40s and 50s people done wrong? Definitely the next part.
Yes. अब 40s 50s वालों को भी करो यार कुछ ना.
Done.
और your co-author who's not here, Surya Pasricha.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about him also a little bit, because it's a co-author thing.
Of course.
Very interesting. So, yeah, my first impressions of the book that I was a bit worried. मैंने कहा यार इसमें ना वही stories होंगी, traditional की you have taken case studies and kind of done with the book. Because I think that's the more easier sort of format. कि उसमें आप easily kind of कर पाते हो. But when I read the book, it is more than that. You have a narrative. You are telling founders that this is the way you can kind of pursue entrepreneurship. These are the things you need to worry about, be wary about also, and how to kind of succeed in this. Now it's a confusing sort of scenario because everybody is kind of figuring out now. Like we know the basics, most of us, but now there are some intricacies जो वो सबको नहीं पता. At least people believe that उनको पता है, but actually कई बार नहीं भी पता होती. So I'm glad that you have written this book to break it down in a very simple manner.
Thank you.
And even if somebody is like people who are starting out, they'll be able to kind of read it and associate with it and learn from it from the go. Great. So my first question is that this, the examples you have taken and this format of rising, which is the core, the heart of this book.
Yeah.
A little bit about this rising thing that you have the concept. वो क्या है?
Absolutely. I think thank you so much for the very kind words about the book. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by the response we've got in the book. We've actually sold multiple copies, ran into multiple editions of prints now, and very excited to see the knowledge that people are getting out of it. So I think when I wrote this book, the idea was, of course, to cover more of entrepreneurs who are much more relatable rather than just positioning case studies, as you said. And in order to cover these stories and encapsulate these stories into a learning rubric or a learning framework, I thought, why not bring a pseudonym or an acronym, right, which summarizes the chapter.
Yeah.
And that is where I was thinking of, okay, what can be this word which basically summarizes the entire chapter. And then rising came into the mind, right? We were thinking of all the positive adjectives on the top of our mind, right? So then rising came up, and then I realized that rising eventually covers the entire startup journey perspective, right? Because the R stands for roadblocks. Any journey, any startup starts from solving a problem. So the roadblocks is very important, right? The I was the idea, right? What is the idea about, right? The S was eventually the solution, right? That, okay, even if you have the idea, what eventually are you building out there, right? So for example, if your idea is to, let's say, promote books, your solution is an app which connects the book readers, correct? So the S was there. Then I was the customer, which we call it the ICP, right? The ideal customer profile. कि आपकी जो भी idea है या जो भी startup है, उसका ideal customer कौन है, right? Because India is, of course, a travesty of different people from different generations, different backgrounds. So the ideal customer profile, and then we spoke about what N se kya rakhe. And N was the trickiest part because we were not able to find, honestly, a very good English word which captures N. We had to now talk about how do that startup eventually makes money. And that's when N came in Nakad, right? That the money part.
I was blown away by that because I was like, RISI to ho gaya, ye N kya ho raha hai? I was trying to pronounce it in English. I was like, nakad. And I said, oh my God, nakad hai yaar.
Yeah. So nakad, and then we wrote it in the brackets called money, right? And G became growth. So I think the entire journey of the startup we tried to cover, ki eventually what is the problem, solution, who's the customer, how you're making money from that customer, and how you are, after making money, how you are growing with that customers and many customers out there. So I think that framework fit in very, very well for us. And that's where we just wanted to give a breather to our audience in terms of ending a chapter on a lighter note, which summarizes the entire journey and stories of people into these 6 words.
Yeah.
Six
I think
categories.
it makes the book more actionable.
Correct.
And you kind of it encapsulates the entire chapter beautifully.
Correct.
And a little bit about the co-author thing, Surya Pasricha. First of all, for those who don't know about him, a little bit about him also, and ये co-author वाला scene कैसे work करता है? Because when you're writing, how does it work out, and what are the dynamics, and what were your dynamics in this case?
Absolutely. That's a very good question, and a lot of people gave me the feedback for this question. Then when initially I had this idea of the book, right? It came during COVID times, and I wanted to write it myself. I thought I used to write blogs, and I used to write a lot of articles way back in school, colleges, even before I started, of course, Faad towards investments, I used to handle the content side for Faad, right? So I used to write a lot of blogs, startup websites, guest posts and everything. So I thought, let me write the book. It would just be like a 3-4 weekends thing where I'll just write it down. Because I'm a very fast writer that ways. But then a lot of people gave me this feedback, right? That Aditya, when you would write from the point of view of what you know and what is something you would want people to know.
Right.
And that would always come from a point of view where you already know things. So you would expect people to know it already. So your writing would reflect your own thoughts and knowledge, which is already at a higher level than most of the people, because this is your field. People say, a lot of my friends said that you need that third person perspective to come in and write for you. People who don't come from the industry, don't come from the background, who can simple down things and understand the things in a very layman manner. Because when I was figuring out my ICP is not someone who knows everything about starters.
सही बात है, हाँ.
मेरा customer या मेरा reader ही वही है जो startup explore करना चाहता है, अपनी journey में stuck है और कहीं ना कहीं बढ़ना चाहता है. So I think that is where Surya, of course, reached out. He said he liked my content on LinkedIn and everything. We connected. I saw him as a very enterprising guy. Again, I told him in life, at some point of time, I told him in life that way before writing the book, making him my co-author, that Surya, I think whatever opportunity that life gives you, just grab it. Don't ask twice, because the age that you are in, right? The age that I was when I went through your age, I never said no to any opportunity.
Right.
Some of them, of course, wasted a lot of my time. But
I mean, you can't get something out of everything.
Correct. Yeah. But some of them actually gave me the golden door, right? To success in life. तो वही मैंने उससे बोला, and then I told that same thing कि यार I basically am looking for the third person to be my co-author. Okay. I know it's a big responsibility. I don't know कि ये कब तक खत्म होगा. It's not it's like a job, right? But it's a creative field. आप लिखना चालू करो, आपको creative block भी आएगा, सब चीजें. And plus I have to meet all of these entrepreneurs also in person.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which I'll come down, of course. वो भी एक journey रही है. So मैंने कहा इसमें time लगेगा, and it's not a paying job, right? मतलब इसमें ना मेरे को पैसा मिल रहा है ना तेरे को पैसा मिल रहा है, but हाँ, when of course our book sells, we'll get our share cut of share from it. ESOPs दे दियो उसको. मैंने कहा वो मिलेंगे, वो जरूर मिलेंगे, but of course I will meet these entrepreneurs in me and you'll learn a lot. Learning is definitely guaranteed. He took some time. He said, I've never written a book. Why did you choose me? I said, बस तू आ जा. He was a marketer. So for those of you who don't know, he's a marketer. He's basically worked with a lot of advertising companies, worked with actors like Sonu Sood, also worked with a lot of brands, right? So he's a hardcore marketer. He comes and said, Aditya, I don't know why have you chosen me. I'm not the best person to do the job, but if you are telling me to do this, you must have seen something in me. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay. Then he never asked, never doubted himself. We went through, of course, बहुत challenges आए बीच में. And I told him कि जब एक बारी book successful थोड़ी हो जाएगी ना, एक बारी book go ahead हो जाएगा from Penguin, तो तब पूछना ये वाला question, why did you choose me? Then I answered that question कि यार I don't know, I just saw this. मेरे पास आंसर ही नहीं था. I saw the passion in your eyes. I didn't think twice. I thought कि let's go ahead and do this.
I think some decisions are like that, right? It's a gut feeling you get while meeting someone or interacting with someone, and you go by it. Like
absolutely. I need someone मतलब who basically is willing to learn and unlearn, because he wrote a lot of this portion of this book with me, right? And he helped me break down the complex parts. So for that, he had to unlearn and learn a lot. But I think he's been very patient in that journey, and yeah, it's a dual success. Yes.
Awesome. Great job, Surya. If you're watching this, or we'll watch it.
Of course, I'll make him watch this.
Yeah, make him watch this. And a lot of great stories, a lot of learnings from here. I think you mentioned that it's primarily for, rising entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs. But even I could, go back and kind of, test out myself. Although I've been in this journey for a bit, but even now I have so much to learn. There are always kind of, things to kind of look forward to, how to kind of, especially the one part which I really loved, like knowing your customer deeply. Would you like to shed more light on that and add your comments, because that was particularly nice, and also give a bit of context where in the book.
Of course. I think that's all the book sessions that I've done in various parts of India. Knowing your customer has emerged as one of the popular, like an audience popular chapter, right? Because it's very simply written, it's very observable. So know your customer, KYC, right? I think we have played a satirical role on that, where we said KYC is knowing your customer in banking language, but here it is in startup language, right? So it's a wordplay on that. And knowing your customer is actually the most important thing in any startup journey. If you look at, people think that कि startup में बना रहा हूँ तो मैं अपने लिए बना रहा हूँ, investors के लिए बना रहा हूँ, है ना, या अपनी families के लिए बना रहा हूँ, उनको कुछ prove करने के लिए बना रहा हूँ. But actually, you are solving the problem of the customer. अगर customer को पसंद नहीं है तो no matter how much funding you have, how much support you have, how much credibility you have, nothing will go in this world, right? So KYC was the one very most important chapter. And when I looked at which entrepreneur can I see for KYC, then I found an entrepreneur called Anubhav Dubey, right? Who's the founder of Chai Sutta Bar. Again, a very inspirational story. He does not sell sutta also, right? Thing is, he does not drink chai either.
Oh, that I didn't know. That I didn't know.
So we have written in the book he does not drink chai either, and does not have sutta in his shop. No, he does not promote cigarettes. But then he's built almost 350 plus outlets, right? Just serving chai locally. Again, a founder who comes from a place called Rewa in Madhya Pradesh, very localized town. Came from there and built a company entirely bootstrapped.
Wow.
And 350 plus outlets. Now he's not just in India, he's in Dubai.
Dubai, I know.
He's opening in London, he's opening up everywhere. By the time, I know the top of the stats, because by the time we wrote this book, there were 350 plus. I'm pretty sure by now it will be more than 500.
Yes.
So, and the way he's cracked, right? The insight that I've shared, I would of course want the readers to go in and not spill the beans out there. But the way he's understood chai is not just a commodity. Most of the people treat chai as a commodity. कि chai है तो हर गली नुक्कड़ में 5 रुपए में बिकती है. But chai is an emotion, right? वो हर गली नुक्कड़ में 5 रुपए में बिकती जरूर है, but हर टपरी का एक अलग इमोशन है. आपकी यादें जुड़ी हैं, आपके दोस्त याद जुड़े हैं, आपके भैया के साथ रिलेशनशिप, आपके 10 रुपए की उधारी पेंडिंग है उनसे, right?
And the kullad.
And the kullad.
Yes.
And the kullad, which matches all of that. So how he understood that and built, that is amazing.
It's crazy. I think it boils down to he knew his customer and whom he is offering that experience.
Absolutely.
And he created that experience to the T.
T.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Great story. And a lot to learn from that. Painfully kind of just, going out, understanding the customer. I think that's so important, right?
And he wanted to be an IS officer.
Wow, that's like...
I'm just like giving you a feeler of the chapter. Like, it's a crazy story how a person who's an IS officer is now selling chai.
Amazing story. Okay, another one which I wanted to delve into is that of Vedant Lamba.
Yeah.
A crazy story.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, he has had his share of, ups and downs also.
Indeed.
In beach mein matlab हुए हैं. But the origin story is so amazing. I mean, this sneaker culture thing that's taking over everything right now.
Everything, yeah.
Everybody wants to own a sneaker, including me. And when we watch his videos and, the way he's passionate about the culture, And even in the book, you've gone into detail and how he built distribution.
Correct.
So, did you meet him, end up meeting him? What happened? Why did you pick him? A little bit about that.
No, I basically had an interaction with everyone out there.
Acha, everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
Including the founders of PhysicsWallah and everyone
Awesome.
out there,
Yeah,
right? BharatPe.
yeah.
Because even if I knew them and knew their journey, I wanted to get to them and cover their insights. And that is what has, I think, made the audience like the book so much, because the insights are so raw.
Right.
They're not to be found anywhere on the internet, right? So I met everyone. Vedant, of course, is based in Bombay, but I had like a virtual meeting with him, where we discussed at length about how does this entire thing works, right? How does sneaker distribution works, right? Because a thing which is coming as a drop, right, sells in as low as 10, 20 seconds, and people are paying 2x, 3x the price of it, yet no stock is available here, right? So I think that is where the distribution chapter was very important. That build a product so much, right? The distribution is something that would eventually sell for. Even if let's say you see a thing which is very common out there. For example, you kind of see a book, right? Like how Chetan Bhagat, how he built distribution, right?
Yes.
Even though, of course, people may have opinions about the book, about his style of writing, but the book was so very well marketed and distributed that, right, it was there, like wherever your eyes could go, you could see that book. And that is like out of sight, out of mind is the thing, right? So if you're seeing something, you would promote it to buy it. I think how he built that distribution, sneaker culture, how he set the pricing.
Yes.
And it's a very tough thing because like it gets imported from outside.
Right.
A stock appears in a very limited quantity and it's get distributed to every distributor, sub-distributor here in India. So yeah, not spill all the beans, but how he cracked that, I think is amazing.
It's amazing because reseller to bahut sare ho sakte hain. But you know, creating a brand out of that itself,
absolutely,
it's crazy. And I think it is also how he came forth as a YouTuber as well.
Indeed.
And how he kind of made it very aspirational. At the same time, going into the nitty-gritties of the detailing of it all. How he used to tell, describe the sneakers. That's something which people get fascinated by.
And he comes from a totally different background. His dad is a very famous author.
Yes.
Romancing the balance sheet, Anil Lamba.
Yes.
Right.
So it's crazy how someone like that can come into that. And I am a follower of his YouTube channel, so I know the entire journey. But reading it here, because there were some really new things here.
Absolutely.
Which kind of, you can always understand from the book.
That's what I wrote. So our first question to the thing to the founders were, forget what's written about you on Google and Facebook and media. Just talk to us like you're talking to a friend.
Oh,
right.
That's why the connect kind of they tell you more. They can connect and they know that this is where this is going. And perhaps entrepreneurs will learn from it later on. So I think to your credit also, you got that content.
So I know these guys. It's not that, of course, I know these guys, most of these guys, right? Some of them I've been working with, some of them, their companies I've invested in as well.
Oh, nice.
Right? So I know these guys. But then, when I delved deeper into their journeys and conversations, even they were asking, Aditya, you never asked us so many deep questions. So I think it was very refreshing for me to write this book. At one point of time, while writing this book, I thought, yaar, nahi ho raha hai, bahut thakavat ho gaya.
Right.
Because I loved every time.
It's your passion, na? Let's talk about. I didn't mention the Faad Guy thing. So, guys, he's known as the Faad Guy. So I was impressed already. मैंने कहा ये जो word use किया ना, मतलब ये amazing है. What is the origin story of this, first of all? And how does it fit in your life and your work? So how did this happen?
No, I think it's a very long journey. It's been almost 10 years now that I've been working in startup ecosystem.
When did you start? When you were born
when I was 16 years old.
16?
Yeah.
Goodness. Wow. And this book you wrote around, say, 26, 27, is it?
Yeah, 26.
Matlab after a decade into understanding this ecosystem.
Yeah.
So, guys, please take time. Let get all the knowledge and then write something,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Faad, basically the company that, of course, I head as the CEO, right? we kept the name as Faad because we wanted to do something awesome, right? And I think वो Faad नाम इसलिए रख लिया कि something awesome ही होना चाहिए.
Cool name.
पंजाबी थे,
yes.
youth culture, so I think
fit in होता है. North India में थोड़ा fit in भी
होता है. Faad कि Faad काम करना, जो भी करना है उस Faad में. So
it's a very college campus lingo also.
Yeah. So we very Gen Z oriented name.
नहीं, even see Gen Z own नहीं कर सकती.
Millennials भी.
Millennials. Because when back in the day when I was doing my engineering, we had this word going around. जब IIT campuses हर जगह.
I am a borderline millennial also, so मतलब you don't worry कि of course जब कि millennial है तो millennial भी है, Gen Z नहीं है. So so we of course kept this name as Faad, and of course when Faad was taking up shape as an investment firm, and I used to go to a lot of colleges to talk about my journey and everything. सब लोग बोलते थे यार you're the Faad guy, right? You're the Faad वाला guy, right? You're the Faad, तुम Faad वाला लड़का है. So Faad guy लोग बहुत बोलते थे.
It's stuck.
It's stuck. So I thought यार Faad guy is now going to be my media name. मैं Faad guy के नाम से अपनी brand build करूँगा. And Faad Guy now is patented, right? By the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because
good work.
A lot of people started using it. तो मैंने कहा नहीं यार, now that I built a brand, so you need to take the next step also.
हाँ, तो कोई और अगर use करेगा तो गया हो.
काफी सारे Instagram pages. वैसे मैंने एक बारी Faad Guy use करा तो एक किसी लड़की ने Faad Girl use कर लिया.
Oh, so Faad use नहीं कर सकते आप.
Faad use कर सकते. So बस वही है. That became my brand name, and when I started creating content in COVID, वो Faad Guy के नाम से famous होने लग गया. Right, तो वही that whole story was called the Faad Guy now.
Right.
Now वो name और popular हो गया because now of course we've grown also as Faad as a company. Last 10 years we've grown.
Okay. So great. Tell me something about the investments that you make and how you started, because the first one maybe that must be tricky, because you have to the first step.
Absolutely.
As they say, वो सबसे tough होता है. उसके बाद तो you gain experience, but the first step, tell us about that.
No, I think we initially wanted to do everything for startups.
Okay.
Right, and then we slowly and steadily realized that we have to be more focused in our services and approach. And then we thought fundraising is one thing. We can of course start with funding, because what is the one pain point of every startup out there? Everybody needs funds, right? So we thought, why not we be the giver of funds, right? We started that, we connected with investors, we had startups, and we used to do pitching events and everything. In fact, not a place far from here, we did our very first pitching event.
Okay.
So of course, when we did that pitching event, we had our first startup, which was basically in the eyewear space.
Okay.
Right? So they were, like Lenskart was selling eyewear for the premium masses, they were selling eyewear for the retail masses, right? And we invested in that company they had one store in Delhi, and now of course they have about 110 stores across India.
Company का नाम भी बता दो.
It's a company called Clear Dekho.
हाँ देखा है.
Yeah, Clear Dekho.
Yeah.
So they have like a yellow owl करके उसमें red color का चश्मा लगा होता है.
We know.
हाँ, they are there in your place also.
Yes.
So we invested in that. वहाँ से थोड़ा confidence आने लगा, because that is the company that I had witnessed, and I had I met the founder first time, and I thought कि pitch हो सकता है. So उस company के बाद of course we carried the momentum further. When COVID happened, everything of these pitching events went online. So we created a network. We started putting in our own capital also. Right. So I think I'm cutting it very short, but that's actually the long story short, right? From one investments, now we are about 130 investments now. Wow,
crazy, right? Crazy. But I think you cut it short. But actually, I sense that you are a doer. Like you like to do things quickly and shape. Not the book, but बाकी चीजों पे.
Book में time लग गया.
Book में time लगा. हाँ. Great. Another story, and of course learning the growth school story.
Yeah.
Which is very fascinating. How Vaibhav kind of started that entire movement, I would say, and how he came up. How did that? Why did you choose that story? Of course, it is in context with how you should an entrepreneur should kind of allocate ESOPs and when you don't have anything, right? So tell me a bit about that and the importance of ESOPs also.
Amazing. I think that's one of the underrated chapters, definitely. Because see, when we were writing this book, ESOPs was not something that was planned.
Okay.
Because we thought ESOPs would maybe, when we were writing this book, we thought, what is the category 1 information and what is the category level 2 information that we want to give?
Okay.
Level information is the surface level that we want to give, right? But then we realized that we will not be doing justice to our audience if we don't give a hint of surface level 2 information also.
Right.
Because see, even if अगर आप as a founder आप day 0 पे कोई company build कर रहे हो, that does not mean कि आपको day 100 की चीज़ नहीं पता होनी चाहिए. Because अगर आप backtrack करके वो step सही नहीं लेते तो आप उस journey तक कभी पहुँचोगे ही नहीं. Everybody tells you to have a co-founder,
right?
But nobody tells you to how to manage your employees, right? Nobody tells you like कि manage employees को कैसे करें. Right. Like it's not just about keeping them happy and everything, but how do you incentivize them?
The things that I've heard, like mostly, and you're right. There's no place ये नहीं सिखाया जा रहा है कि कैसे मैनेज करना है. वहीं पे स्ट्रगल होती है सबसे ज्यादा.
वही स्ट्रगल होती है. फाउंडर बहुत अच्छी क्रेडिबिलिटी का होता है, आइडिया उसके पास होता है, मे बी फंड्स भी होते हैं, बट अगर टीम ही साथ में काम नहीं करी तो फाउंडर अकेला कितना एग्जीक्यूट कर लेगा. Everybody
is going through that and there is no one to help.
There is no one, right?
Because you are on your own. तो यार उनको मतलब क्या एक काम कर, जो आइडियाज मैंने सुने हैं, कूल सा एनवायरनमेंट बना दे, यू नो, कूल सा एनवायरनमेंट बना दे, टीटी टेबल लगा दे, ये इनको क्या बोलते हैं, पूल खेलने दे. करेक्ट. आई सेड दे आर देयर टू वर्क, राइट? So
those are not long term ploys. See, वो pool आज खेल लेंगे, कल खेल लेंगे. We wanted to give a very long term ploy, and if you get the right talent, right, उसको कैसे retain करना? Because a startup is about working with the right talent, right? So you see any biggest company that is scaled out there, Tata, because of the right talent that you have, right? हम सबको लगता है कि टाटा रतन टाटा चला रहे हैं, वो सब ऐसे एक फीलिंग आती है, बट इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ द राइट टैलेंट दैट देव हैड, राइट? एंड इट्स स्केल्ड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, राइट? HUL एज अ कंपनी, देयर इज अ बुक कॉल्ड फाउंडर्स फैक्ट्री, उससे कितने CEOs निकले हैं, राइट? इट्स अ CEO प्रोड्यूसिंग फैक्ट्री, राइट?
बैक इन द डे PayPal,
Flipkart, you look at all the biggest startup ecosystem में जितनी biggest companies बनी सब Flipkart से बनी. सब Flipkart वाले बने हैं, right?
They are the mafia of India.
Flipkart is like the Aryan descendancy of startup ecosystem.
Yes, right? Absolutely. They are everywhere,
right? So वही है, they retained because Flipkart maybe also they retained their early employees very very well with ESOPs, right? And वही लोग हैं जिनके पास ESOPs थे, जिन्होंने बड़ी बड़ी companies बनाई आगे जाके. So basically, for the audience, ESOPs is what? ESOPs is employee stock ownership plan, right? Where basically you are telling ki if let's say Aditya is a great talent, he is coming from a 1 crore salary. I can't afford him because I don't have anything in startup on day zero. I give him ESOPs which becomes worth 10 crores tomorrow, right? So that essentially he covers up and sees the larger value.
Right.
And that is why ESOPs are a very great ploy. Of course, it comes with certain equity dilution. You have to give up ownership, a portion of your company to someone else.
Right.
But I think in the long run, there's a very famous saying, right? That 100% of a grape is no better, right, than having just 10% of a watermelon.
Yes.
Have 10% of a watermelon, that's more than 100% of a grape, right? So essentially, that is why the ESOP part is very important. And you should incentivize, startups should incentivize giving a lot of ESOPs because that promotes longevity also income.
Right.
Let's say you get a 1 crore salary and tomorrow you don't get an appraisal, right? You would leave, right? But in ESOPs, you would see that increasing over time. So that's a retention strategy.
Right.
So yeah, now coming back, the reason I of course had growth school chapter spun off in ESOP was because I thought I need to tell ESOPs about my audience. Because मेरी audience again the ICPs tier 2, tier 3 की जनता जो कोई startup बनाना चाह रही है, उसको नहीं पता ESOPs के बारे में, कोई नहीं बताता है. कौन सी business studies की book ESOPs के बारे में बताती है?
Rare
non-existent ही है. मतलब even I've been a business student in school, मेरे को तो किसी ने ESOPs के बारे में नहीं पता.
मैंने तो नहीं पढ़ा. मैं तो खैर business student भी नहीं हूँ. मैं तो tech side से हूँ. But you know, even then I have never read.
Nobody tells about that, right? Nobody tells about that. So I think that is where I wanted to keep that chapter. And of course, with Vaibhav's chapter, ESOPs fits in so well because you have, of course, I'll not spill all the beans, but he has almost 8 to 10 co-founders, right?
Yeah.
All youngsters or college students. And how did he maintain and manage that?
बड़ी crazy team है उनकी.
Crazy team है, right? उनका आप Instagram पे देखो, उनकी team इतनी crazy content बनाती है, सब कुछ चीजें करती है, and all youngsters, right? And they raised one of the biggest seed rounds in India, led by a very prominent VC. So it's a very fascinating chapter. How did that happen? And I remember when Vaibhav was interviewing this for the book. Vaibhav से थोड़ा बैक एंड फोर्थ हुआ, टाइम नहीं फिक्स हो पा रहा था. वैभव को बहुत कम टाइम मिलता था. He has just उस टाइम में जस्ट फंडिंग रिसेंटली आई थी.
And half the time he's teaching.
Half the time he's teaching, half the time he's with investor meetings.
Yeah.
तो मैंने कहा वैभव आराम से टाइम बता दो, जब आपका टाइम होगा मेरे को 1 घंटा चाहिए बताना. वैभव वाज लाइक ठीक है आदित्य, चल मैं बैंगलोर से ना अभी बैठा हूँ. एंड आई लव बैंगलोर. मेरे को अगर बैंगलोर ने किसी चीज़ में फेवर करा तो इस चैप्टर के लिए करा है कि मैं अपने घर से बैठा हूँ, मेरे को एयरपोर्ट पहुँचते पहुँचते 1-1.5 घंटा आराम से लगेगा. तो मैंने कहा हाँ चलो हम सेट है. अब तू स्टार्ट हो जा एंड वील रिकॉर्ड दिस. So I think that's how the chapter.
Yeah, great startup, and I think they tackled a problem which really needed solving, and because that gap of sort of academics and industry.
Absolutely.
It's something which we used to like. We have been hearing this for so long, and nobody was solving it properly. Yeah. So it's a great thing
now you
that
should
is
see
done.
their AI prowess. Like they are like Vaibhav has not shot content for the last 1 year.
Yeah.
He's done everything with AI, and his followers have grown more than you shooting content.
I've seen the YouTube channel, and I was like, I can figure out it's not him, but a new follower.
Yeah.
Won't figure it out. Yeah, because हमें तो पता है क्योंकि
आप techie हो, आप figure out कर भी लोगे.
But layman नहीं figure out कर सकता. हाँ. And even there, all the courses, everything has grown like anything. And the latest, I was doing this little what was it, boot camp sort of thing by Google for startups.
Yeah.
And that happened, and the opening this podcast that was opening this boot camp had Vaibhav featuring along with Google for Startups India this thing head. So I mean, what a journey he has made it there, and great. Okay, let's talk about your content creation side. I found that fascinating. Somebody who is busy with investing and whatever, why content? Like, why is it needed? I know it's educational, but how does one kind of fit it in? And because you have to make so much, and there is a lot of work that goes behind it, why did you start that?
I think call it the blessing of COVID. We had lots of time to kill in our hands. Content started just like that, right?
Okay.
We had lots of time to kill. So I used to, before COVID also, I had started doing a lot of these events that I was telling you.
And blogs, you said.
Blogs. But events, I think more because I was using a lot of I started to use a lot of punchlines.
Okay.
And in college also, I dabbled with stand-up comedy also, right?
Okay.
That's another story about me. I dabbled with stand-up comedy also. So naturally, I was more punchy and a very straightforward kind of person and very witty, right?
And performing.
I developed that side in me, right? So I think post-college, I naturally I was more comfortable in front of the camera, more comfortable in front of the audience. And that's where I realized that content can be a good strategy for me, right?
Okay.
I saw a lot of content creators. That time, hardly there were any content creators. People were just coming up. I thought, A, I'll get the first mover advantage also. B is that I think in entrepreneurship field, it's very niche that people don't talk about it a lot from a very bottom perspective. People would now last 2-3 years because of Shark Tank and because of all of these things, Startup India policy, right? And so many shows, startup shows have now happened.
And LinkedIn also kind of transforming.
LinkedIn startup has become very mainstream,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And IPOs happening and all of these new generation adopting startup jobs more than corporate jobs. So I think that is where it kind of fit the bill that now I can create content more on startups, right? Started out just as an experiment. I remember my first video was angel investor kaun hote hain?
Oh,
right. And
like such a simple thing.
Such a simple thing.
But you have to break it down really well.
And I broke it down very simply. Like angel investor kaun hote hain? And my idea was like you'll actually laugh at how I explained it. I said, मानो आप बर्थडे पार्टी ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हो, आपके पास पैसे खत्म हो गए, आपके 10 दोस्त आते हैं और 10-10 रुपए कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं, तो ऐसे करके 100 रुपए हो गए. अभी 10 लोग आपके स्टार्टअप के एंजल इन्वेस्टर हो गए, जो छोटे-छोटी अमाउंट्स में कंट्रीब्यूट करके.
रिलेटेबल, वेरी इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड,
वेरी रिलेटेबल.
क्योंकि हमारे मतलब टियर 2 टियर 3 में ना समटाइम्स पीपल गेट ओवरऑड.
Yes.
यार क्या है मतलब एंजल इन्वेस्ट, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ अभी भी दिस कल्चर इज नॉट देयर.
Absolutely.
People are just watching people like you on the internet. Because physically ना people are not going and talking to these people.
Correct.
क्योंकि वो colleges भी नहीं है, there are no IIMs as such, कुछ है ही नहीं ऐसा infra. So people are just watching people like you, and glad you are making that sort of simplified content, simple way में explain करो ताकि वो डर ना जाए. पता चला पहले ही डर गए तो करेंगे क्या, काम क्या करेंगे?
नहीं, एब्सोल्युटली. और उनको मोटिवेट करना है. मतलब ऑल ऑफ माय कंटेंट इज वेरी पॉजिटिव, मोटिवेट्स पीपल. ऑन लिंक्डइन आई राइट अबाउट स्टोरीज ऑफ पीपल व्हिच मोटिवेट्स पीपल. So उसी हिसाब से I've tried and positioned my content, and now it worked. When it worked out, then I started doing it more actively.
Great. I think your strategy with your content was very good. And in fact, in a similar way, sort of when we started ना कि मतलब reading culture को promote करना है.
Correct.
So we started also with simple books एकदम. बिल्कुल ऐसी हो कि जिससे कोई घबराए ना. अब हम पूरा काम इसे start तो नहीं कर सकते.
Of course.
तो some people used to ask कि यार मतलब तुम तो यार थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड और ये वो बुक्स. मैंने कहा अभी भाग जाएंगे सब. पहले ही भाग जाएंगे पहले दिन. You know, so we also try to do that very simple way में.
Of course.
Great. What else about the publisher? Penguin, who published your book. What was their feedback? Was there any input from the editorial team? How were they involved? And any future plans, if any, by them or someone else? कुछ ऐसा sequels का या कुछ ऐसा?
Yeah. No, I think Penguin was my go-to publisher, was my dream publisher. And I wanted to do it with them only. And I initially approached them. Of course, the match did not happen because मेरे को भी खुद भी clarity नहीं थी बहुत ज़्यादा कि ये book का idea क्या होगा. Because business books तो बहुत आई हैं. It's not like that. But what would actually make this book different? You said right, case studies तो बहुत है. बहुत है. वो case studies मैं नहीं करना चाहता था. So हम स्टार्टअप के लोग हैं ना सर, मतलब खुद इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. अगर कुछ चीज अच्छी लगती है तो इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते, तो खुद अगर खुद कुछ अच्छी चीज नहीं लग रही तो क्यों लिखेंगे?
सही बात है.
सो आई जस्ट डिडंट वांट टू राइट इट फॉर द सेक ऑफ राइटिंग इट कि मेरी भाई बहुत ज्यादा ब्रांड क्रेडिबिलिटी बिल्ड हो जाएगी ये वो, बिकॉज़ वो तो एनीवेज कंटेंट वाज बीइंग टेकन केयर ऑफ. बट आई थिंक पेंगुइन वाज ऑफ कोर्स, मतलब दे आर द बिगेस्ट पब्लिशर आउट देयर. एंड मतलब मेरा बचपन का नॉस्टैल्जिया, लॉट ऑफ बिजनेस बुक 0 to 1 एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड ऑफ कोर्स हैव बीन all Penguin. So मैंने था कि हाँ इनसे ही करना. It even if it takes time, I'll be the adamant one. So I was like the founder pitching to them. मैं एक बार रिजेक्ट, दो बार रिजेक्ट हुआ, तीसरी बार रिजेक्ट
kept on kind of.
Kept on. मैंने कहा आप सर रिजेक्ट करते रहोगे, मैं आता रहूँगा, आप करते रहोगे, आता रहूँगा. In fact, in one of these events, I think at Kunzum only, here at this very hall, if I remember correctly, एक और बुक लॉन्च हुई थी जिसकी नील बोराटे की एक और बुक लॉन्च हुई थी. इनकी कुछ स्टॉक मार्केट पे कुछ लॉन्च हुआ था. एंड आई थिंक इन दिस वेरी इवेंट आई मेट द पेंगुइन टीम अगेन.
ओके.
एंड
दिस क्रेजी गाय इज बैक who is after our life.
And then one of the co-authors of that friend, they connected me to Penguin again.
Okay.
And when they thought यार ये तो घूम के भी हमारे पास आ रहा है तो फिर ये बंदा adamant तो है. Then by that time I had got very clarity also. Surya had also come into the picture. And that's when I thought कि हाँ book तो करेंगे. I have some entrepreneurs also interested and lined up. And yeah, of course थोड़ा पेंगुइन है, टाइम लगता है.
नहीं टाइम तो
टाइम काफी लगता है, मतलब
one has to be patient.
They are the biggest publishers. उनको काफी स्ट्रेस भी होता है.
They also have a pipeline, right?
They have a huge pipeline. तो बहुत वो होता है. तो बट आई थिंक वो बैक एंड फोर्थ हुआ. वी आर डूइंग इट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. आई थिंक हमारे साइड से सारी मिस्टेक्स हुई थी. तो आई रिमेम्बर वर्ड डॉक में हम कुछ चीजें हाईलाइट करना भूल जाते थे. वो सारी फिर प्रोसेस थोड़ा रीडू करना पड़ता था. बट आई थिंक we were very, मतलब we also were patient कि नहीं अब तो करना है, अब तो दूर आ गए. They were also patient कि अभी वापस तो नहीं जाने वाले. So I think when it done, they were happy. Like it was all worth it. Like they had high expectations from the book also. Even before the book came out, we were in their top 3 of most awaited books of this year. And when the book came out, of course bestsellers तो हम बने ही बने. But उसके साथ साथ the reach that we got, multiple printed editions. फोन ही आ सकता है बस, अभी है नहीं, अभी प्रिंट, अभी तो ऑर्डर पे ऑर्डर दिए जा रहे हैं.
That's like, you know, a blessing when that happens. What about reader feedback? The initial feedbacks, या अभी भी कुछ आता हो ऐसा कुछ at the top of your head, if you remember something? आता रहता है. I think बहुत feedbacks आते रहते हैं. The most loved ones that I think have come up is कि Aditya, this is that one thing that I was stuck in, and this book helped me find that. Okay. And that was the exact feedback that I wanted in the book. See, the beauty about this book is, and I'm not just telling because I have written it, right? The beauty about the idea is that person can read this book from anywhere, right? That is there. Not an interlink. That I experienced because I kind of read the initial chapters and then I went to the last one.
Yeah.
वो उसकी बात अभी करी नहीं हमने, वो उसको करके फिर हम कंक्लूड करेंगे पॉडकास्ट.
हाँ. So like you can start from anywhere. अब as a founder, if let's say you are facing problem in customer identification, go to the KYC chapter. If you are facing problems कि यार मैं team को कैसे retain करूँ, go to the ESOPs chapter. So that is the feedback that I like about this book. That I don't have to start the book and finish it till somewhere to get the knowledge. And it's very simply written. Right? It is not just pure narrative. It's backed by a lot of examples. Lot of case studies you've given inside, lot of practical things, and the raw insights have been captured, right? I think that is the feedback that I like. And I also wanted this feedback. यार तुम Google वाली चीज तो Google पे पढ़ ही लोगे.
Absolutely.
उसके लिए मैं लिखना नहीं चाहता. I just want to top like मैं 5-6 Google links को summarize करके इसमें लिख दूँ. This is a raw insight जो लोग Google पे नहीं बोलेंगे.
Right. Amazing. Great. Okay. A question that I completely forgot asking you is, what are the top myths about entrepreneurship which you feel are still there?
Yeah.
Or people should not worry about them and go ahead and start their journey. ऐसे कुछ myths हैं जो तुम्हारी नज़र में?
बहुत सारे हैं. I think myths बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. I think the first myth I would say, क्योंकि I think entrepreneurship is still a growing profession in India.
Yes.
Right.
Of course.
आज भी
Evolution हो रहा है.
हाँ, आज भी अगर बच्चा बोलेगा कि जो entrepreneur बनना है तो उसको अपने पेरेंट्स से थोड़ी resistance तो आएगी. Right. So I think the first I would say myth is that people think कि only IIT, IIM people can make startups.
Yeah.
That myth is broken. In fact, just recently I created a video on Instagram saying that I think 146 startup founders out of 288 which have created unicorns in India are all non-IITians.
Wow.
Which is 52%.
That's sick. I mean, that's a huge
more
number.
than that. Yeah. 52% founders in India have created unicorn companies, and not from any IIT or from any IIM. Right?
Yeah, crazy.
So that is, I think, first myth. I think second myth, a lot of people still think is ki if you have an idea, you have a $1 billion business. Idea is the main thing. But I think this book also teaches that just not just about the $1 billion idea. Ideas are many, but it's about the execution that you have to look for distribution, you have to look for customer, you have to solve for employees, you have to solve for so many things, regulations, legalities, funding, all of that. So
बाल कम होते जा रहे हैं मेरे ना इसी वजह से.
नहीं, मेरे भी कम है. मेरे भी कम है, तो थोड़ा इलाज चल रहा है इसलिए थोड़े लग रहे हैं, ऐसे कम नहीं है. But I think entrepreneurship is hard. It's not just having like $1 million idea and just $1 million idea is not equal to $1 million company. Right. Simple as that.
Great put. And finally, the last chapter. I think last ही था.
Last chapter, yes.
हाँ, last
the
था.
boom, the
yes.
showstopper chapter.
Yes, showstopper and the journey of PhysicsWallah and founders' mindset and how they created something out of thin air. You know, nobody would have imagined that something like that could exist at that price point and still be successful, then scale so well. Tell us a bit about that story, because not everybody knows. मतलब generally पता है आप famous हो गया बहुत, but कई लोग हैं, especially in the reader world, who are not aware about this story.
So I think that was the chapter which took us the maximum amount of time to cover. Right. Of course, because we caught PhysicsWallah at a time when they were going for IPO. अब तो खैर IPO आ गया. We caught them and they were like super busy with their IPO. So बहुत हमें लग भी रहा था, मतलब although I went through Pratik through a very very close reference. नहीं तो बात भी नहीं करते मुझसे.
नहीं हो पाता.
But I think we caught them at a time when he was super occupied with the IPO preparations and everything. But I think हो गया, मतलब we kept on relentlessly. उसको भी लगा कि हमें करना ही पड़ेगा. Again his chapter started. आदित्य, मैं अभी मीटिंग से फ्री हूँ, गाड़ी में बैठा हूँ, एक मीटिंग की तरफ जा रहा हूँ, उतने तक का टाइम है, कर ले जो बात करनी है. But he was very very humble. मतलब he's very humble. Even after building so much, almost building 40,000 crore company. Right, so humble.
What do you feel is their kind of, key aspect, key this thing?
So I think that's what I was coming to. So when I wrote this chapter of PhysicsWallah, a lot of people, PhysicsWallah had become a household name, right? PhysicsWallah was our last chapter that we had written. तब तक तो household name बन ही चुका था, IPO आने वाला था, right? And Alakh Pandey sir was like the poster boy of Indian education.
Yes.
हमने कहा यार PhysicsWallah पे तो बहुत कुछ कंटेंट है, बिकॉज IPO से पहले वैसी बहुत सारी मार्केटिंग और पब्लिसिटी होती है. क्या लिखे हम इस पे, कुछ मिल रहा है. आई रिमेंबर सूर्या वेंट थ्रू ऑल द इंटरव्यूज आल्सो, राइट, ऑफ PhysicsWallah. सारे इंटरव्यूज हमने देखे And I asked him, मैंने भी देखे, मैंने भी पढ़े, I asked him, यार कुछ different क्या लिखे हम, सब कुछ it is out there in the public. And that's when he realized कि बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं हैं. The mindset part is missing. कि हमने बता दिया है कि how to build a unicorn company. इससे पहले हमने भारत पे भी cover करा. We taught the basics of how a company started from scratch, became $1 billion. अब similarly, PhysicsWallah is also a unicorn company. How would the BharatPe founders and this PhysicsWallah founders chapter would be different? तब realize करा कि यार आप तब actually BharatPe का founder शाश्वत gave me this idea while he was answering कि यार आदित्य कंपनी तो मैं चला रहा हूँ 8,000 करोड़ 10,000 करोड़ की, बट यार माइंडसेट होना, मैंने उसके आंसर से उसका माइंडसेट कितना सॉलिड है. बिकॉज व्हेन आई इंटरव्यूड भारतपे फाउंडर, आई मेट हिम एट अ पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम जब उसके ऑफिस में कोई नहीं था, वो अकेला सिर्फ मेरे से मिलने आया था. वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड और सिर्फ वो थे. एंड हमें कैमरा लेके जाना था, तो हमें 40 मिनट नीचे सिक्योरिटी में लग गया. वी वर 50 मिनट्स लेट ऑन अ हॉलीडे. एंड उसके पूरे 400 एम्प्लॉय पे पूरा खाली पड़ा, ही इज जस्ट द ओनली वन सिटिंग. तो उस दिन उसने मुझे बताया कि यार माइंडसेट रखना कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है. ही स्टेड देयर और ही इज देयर फॉर हिज एम्प्लॉयज आल्सो. बीच में बैठता है, हर जगह काम करता है. आई रियलाइज कि यार हाँ, अगर ही स्टेड देयर फॉर मी, दैट मींस हिज माइंडसेट इज सो शार्प. एंड दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज कि यार देखो, कंपनी 8,000 करोड़ के बाद भी बंद हो सकती है, बट अगर माइंडसेट अगर आप रखते हो ना, दैट इज द क्रिटिकल पार्ट. Thinking that you are a 8,000 crore company even from today, that will build you the mindset. And that's where the PhysicsWallah chapter came in. The PhysicsWallah chapter is all about, ठीक है, they became the education tech company, they became the biggest ed tech company in India. But they did not even try to. Their intention was not to. Their intention was to... That's the beauty. That's the beauty. Their intention was to build it like a YouTube channel. Yep. So how, the very burning question that I think जो media में भी cover नहीं हुआ, is how you actually turn from a YouTube channel to an tech company.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's crazy.
And I think the other edtechs are not doing so well. I mean, मतलब कईयों की हालत खराब है, you know. And I think that mindset thing, the why,
is important.
Creeps in.
And you would realize Alakh sir does not call himself a businessman. He's an educator. So how does an educator is running the 40,000 crore business in India?
It's crazy.
How do you build the middle management?
Yes.
As in, this book covers so many insights, and Prateek was so generous in answering all of our questions. How did he build that middle layer of management? How did he trust कि यार ठीक है, we are becoming a big company. We are educators. हमें अपने को disassociate करना है, and we have to place our trust in people also.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Well, we have 20,000 employees.
It's so, no joke.
So how do we build that trust, right? So that mindset is important. That you are no longer, although you are still educators at heart, you can't say that अब मैं business चला रहा हूँ, I'm not an educator.
वो तो नहीं हो सकता है. हाँ.
You have to be an educator also. You have to run the business also.
I think the co-founder also played such a great major
role.
Yeah,
Prateek played that role.
He was the perfect foil.
Right. You know, and so how do you do that, right? That is, I think, one of the most appreciated chapters after KYC.
Amazing. Right? I was at TechSparks a couple of years back, and he was standing in a corner. That mindset, he could have easily gone away, to his room. There were rooms allotted ना.
Of course, ताज यशवंतपुर में होता है.
चले जाओ, और ज्यादातर लोग यही करते हैं. वहाँ पे जैसी सेशन होता है, वो भाग के एकदम करेक्ट निकल जाते हैं. उन्हें पता है कि अब एक के बाद एक सब आने वाले हैं, सेल्फी और व्हाटएवर ये होने वाला है. He was just standing there, corner. सब बातें कर रहे हैं आराम से, chill, and कोई अफरा तफरी नहीं मच रही. There are enough people with everyone. सबका सेशन था, but with him I noticed this. I said, I mean, this is what I should aspire for. That even after achieving so much, he's just patiently standing there answering all queries, and no tapar whatever. Pictures भी people were haggling him. थोड़ा होता है ना, परेशान करते हैं लोग.
Very hard.
Just stayed there calmly. No reactions, nothing. I think that comes from you, like you said,
the mindset.
The YouTuber also, an educator in him, very patient guy. Great. Thank you so much, Aditya. Awesome talking to you. And this book is actually amazing. I would like to tell all my community and followers everything that he has done a brilliant job with this. तुम्हें अगर कुछ भी शुरू करना है, स्टार्टअप करना है, मैं कहता हूँ स्टार्टअप नहीं भी शुरू करना
तो भी
it is a must read. And Thank you so much for writing this and being on the Booknerds podcast.
Thank you
We
so
were
much
trying
for
to
having me.
talk to you for so long. हम भी कम नहीं है, हम भी पीछे पड़ जाते हैं देखो.
बिल्कुल देखो I like लोग जो मेरे पीछे पड़ जाते हैं.
So we wanted you for the creator event, but I made it a point. I told Neha I want to talk to this guy. Make it happen.
Many of course.
Thank you so much. And wonderful book, and I hope guys tell us in the comments how you liked this conversation. And of course, Faad Guy, you can follow him. सबको पता है, but फिर भी shout out to his channel. Channel का नाम बता दो एक बार.
आदि अरोड़ा के नाम से Faad Guy on YouTube.
हाँ, तो YouTube पे भी, हाँ, YouTube पे follow him. And of course, हमारा तो launch होगा Booknerds पे @Booknerds everywhere, Insta वगैरह पे Booknerds official. So yeah, thank you for the wonderful conversation.
Thank you.